The city was asleep, but Manhattan's skyline still glowed like 1,000 cold, watching eyes when the elevator chimed at 3:48 a.m. I stood barefoot on the hardwood floor, one hand instinctively resting on my 5-month belly, the other gripping the edge of our marble kitchen island as if it could steady the earthquake inside me. Then the door opened. Logan Whitford stumbled in, the soft click of his Ferragamo shoes echoing through the penthouse. He didn't see me at first. Maybe he didn't care. Maybe he thought I'd be asleep like every other night he'd come home, late from work. But tonight, I smelled it before he even spoke. Perfume. Not mine. A bold, sugary scent. Dior. The kind worn by women who never had to check price tags. It clung to his jacket, to his hair, to his skin. And beneath it, alcohol. Too much alcohol. "Logan?" My voice cracked. He froze, finally looked at me, and that was when I saw the shimmer on his collar. Silver eyeshadow, faint but unmistakable under the kitchen lights. For a long moment, neither of us moved. The refrigerator hummed, the city lights blinked. My heart pounded so hard I felt it in my throat. "Madeline, you're up," he muttered, trying to straighten himself, pretending nothing was wrong. Pretending I was still the naive wife who once believed he'd never betray me. A tremor ran through my hands. Something inside me snapped, quietly, cleanly, like glass cracking under pressure. "I'm done," I whispered. He blinked. Done with what? Deep breath, one truth. "Our child will never carry your last name." The color drained from his face. In that moment, I didn't know this single sentence would unravel his entire world, his reputation, his career, his perfect Manhattan image. But somewhere in the silence, I felt it begin, and that was the night everything I thought I knew about love, marriage, and loyalty shattered. I didn't sleep the rest of that night. Logan disappeared into the guest bathroom, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the glass shelves. I stayed in the kitchen, gripping the back of a leather bar stool as the city slowly shifted from night to dawn outside our penthouse windows. The orange glow of sunrise crept across the skyline, touching the tops of the Chrysler building like it was waking everyone, except me. When Logan finally came out, his hair was wet, shirt changed, evidence of the night washed away, as if soap could erase betrayal. "You overreacted," he said, voice cool, businesslike. The same tone he used when dismissing junior associates. I stared at him, my hands trembling. "You came home covered in someone else's perfume." He rolled his eyes, slipping into his tailored navy suit. "Madeline, I meet clients every night. People hug, people lean in. It's Manhattan, don't be dramatic." There it was, the line he always used when he wanted to make me doubt myself. But this time, something inside me refused to bend. "I know what I smelled, Logan." "You think I'd risk everything for some fling?" He tightened his tie, refusing to look at me. "I have a reputation, a future. Our child deserves stability, not your paranoia." Our child. He said the words, yet they sounded foreign on his tongue. Before I could respond, my phone buzzed on the counter. A vibration sharp enough to jolt my pulse. Email notification. 6:12 a.m. Subject line: termination of independent contract. My breath caught. I opened it with shaking fingers. My contract with the analytics firm, my only income, had been suspended effective immediately due to performance inconsistencies. Inconsistencies? I'd worked every day, even while vomiting through the first trimester, even when Logan didn't bother coming home before sunrise. I looked up slowly. Logan was watching me. Too calmly, too knowingly. "You'll be fine," he said, picking up his Mont Blanc pen from the counter. "I'll take care of things. Just focus on the baby." Something icy slid down my spine. "Did you do this?" I whispered. He didn't answer. He didn't have to. The silence was confirmation. And in that moment, standing barefoot in a penthouse I no longer recognized, I realized this wasn't the first betrayal. It was only the first one I finally saw. By the time the sun fully rose, the penthouse no longer felt like home. It felt like a glass cage, Beautiful, expensive, suffocating. I stood in the bedroom doorway, watching Logan methodically pack his briefcase, slipping documents inside with the same calm precision he used to dismantle my life. "You should rest," he said without looking up. "Stress isn't good for the baby." The hypocrisy stung. He'd created the stress. He'd lit the match, then told me not to breathe in the smoke. "I lost my job, Logan," I said quietly. "I have no income now." "You have me," he replied, straightening his cufflinks. "That should be enough." But it wasn't an offer, it was a warning. I wrapped my arms around myself, an instinctive shield around my belly. "Why did you interfere? Why would you take the only thing I still had control over?" Finally, he looked at me. His expression was unreadable, but his eyes, cold, calculating. "Madeline, you're pregnant. You were distracted. They simply acted before your mistakes became a liability. Be grateful." Grateful? For being replaced? For being powerless? My throat tightened. "I didn't make mistakes." He sighed like he was tired of the conversation. "It doesn't matter now. What matters is optics, stability, especially after your little outburst last night." Outburst? He reeked of another woman, and I was the problem? Before I could answer, a sudden pain twisted through my abdomen. Sharp, deep. I grabbed the edge of the dresser, gasping. Logan barely glanced up. "It's probably stress. Lie down. I have a meeting at 9. Another wave hit. Stronger. My vision blurred. "Logan, I need to go to the hospital." He hesitated, just long enough to show me exactly where his priorities lay. Then, "I'll call you a car. I can't be late." A car. Not him. Not the father of the child I was trying to protect. My breath shook as I lowered myself slowly to the floor, fighting panic. In that moment, it became painfully clear. Logan didn't see me as his wife. He didn't see our child as a life. We were liabilities, inconveniences, collateral damage to his ambitions. And as the contraction tightened like a fist around my ribs, I realized this marriage wasn't breaking. It had already broken long before tonight. The black sedan Logan requested arrived faster than I expected, its headlights cutting through the early morning haze that lingered over Park Avenue. I could barely stand without holding onto the doorframe. My breaths came shallow and uneven, each one trembling as another cramp rippled across my abdomen. The driver, an older man with kind eyes, hurried out to open the door. Logan simply handed him a crisp bill and muttered, "Mount Sinai, make it quick," before stepping back and checking his watch. He didn't even look at me. As the door closed and the car pulled away, I watched Logan's figure grow smaller in the rear window, standing tall in his Brooks Brothers suit, framed by the glittering towers he valued more than the family he had sworn to protect. For the first time since we married, I felt utterly alone. Inside the car, the city blurred past, storefronts flipping like pages in a book I no longer recognized. New Yorkers hurried along the sidewalks with coffee cups and briefcases, unaware that my world was unraveling inside a speeding sedan. The driver glanced at me through the mirror. "Ma'am, should I call someone for you? A friend? Family?" I swallowed hard. "I don't have anyone nearby." Another cramp seized me, sharper than before. I doubled over, clutching my belly as tears welled in my eyes. Not just from pain, but from fear. Real, suffocating fear. The driver tightened his grip on the wheel. "Hang on, we're close." Mount Sinai's white facade came into view like a lifeline. Nurses rushed out the moment they saw the way I was holding myself. They placed me in a wheelchair, their hands gentle yet efficient. "What happened?" one of them asked. "My husband," my voice cracked. "He said I should come alone. He didn't think it was serious." The nurse exchanged a look with her colleague, something between disbelief and anger. "You're safe now, sweetheart. We'll take care of you." But it wasn't until I was wheeled into the triage room that I saw him, a tall figure in a white coat, reviewing charts under the fluorescent lights. Dr. Tyler Grant. He looked up, and the moment our eyes met, his expression shifted from professional calm to unmistakable concern. "Madeline, what happened?" And for the first time in hours, I felt like someone actually saw me. The fluorescent lights of the exam room buzzed softly, a steadier rhythm than my own pulse. Dr. Tyler Grant guided the nurses with calm authority, but when he finally turned back to me, the professionalism in his eyes softened into something deeply human. "Madeline," he said gently, "lie back. We're going to check on the baby." My hands trembled as I settled onto the examination bed. The cold ultrasound gel startled me, but the real shock came from the silence. The kind of silence that fills every corner of a room until your lungs can barely hold the weight. Tyler moved the transducer across my abdomen, eyes fixed on the screen. His brows knit slightly. Is something wrong?" My voice came out as a whisper. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he adjusted the monitor, zooming in. I felt tears forming before he even spoke. Then the room filled with the soft, rapid flutter of a heartbeat. Strong, steady. Relief broke through me so suddenly that I covered my face with both hands, sobbing quietly. Tyler rested a reassuring hand on my arm. "The baby's okay," he said. "Your vitals show stress, not labor. You came in at the right time." I nodded, breath shaking. I was terrified I'd lose everything. His jaw tightened in a way I didn't miss. "You shouldn't have come alone." A lump formed in my throat. Logan said he had a meeting. He didn't think it was serious. Tyler inhaled slowly, as if restraining whatever he wanted to say. "Your chart shows you're flagged for closer monitoring. Someone should have been with you." I looked away, ashamed, not of myself, but of how small Logan had made me feel. A nurse entered with a clipboard. "Dr. Grant, should we schedule her for follow-up every 2 weeks?" "Yes," Tyler said, still watching me. "And make sure her insurance covers all maternal support." The nurse hesitated. "Her husband requested to downgrade her coverage yesterday." I felt the air leave my lungs. Tyler's expression changed, shock first, then something colder. Protective. Angry. "He did what?" he said, voice dropping. I didn't know," I whispered. Tyler crouched beside me, his eyes level with mine. "Madeline, this isn't normal. This isn't safe. You need someone on your side." For the first time, I believed him, because in that small, sterile room, surrounded by strangers who cared more than my own husband, I realized I wasn't just fighting for my marriage, I was fighting for my child. The nurse's footsteps faded down the hallway, leaving behind a silence that felt heavier than the sterile room itself. I stared at the ceiling, trying to process the words I had just heard. Logan downgraded my insurance. Not by accident, not out of confusion. He had chosen the cheapest plan available, the kind that barely covered emergencies, let alone prenatal support. Tyler remained beside me, arms crossed, jaw tight with a restrained fury that didn't belong in a doctor's posture. He was trying to stay professional, but his eyes, sharp, focused, were anything but neutral. "Madeline," he said finally, "has Logan done anything else that concerns you?" A bitter laugh escaped me. Where do I start? I told him everything. The smell of perfume, the late nights, the sudden job termination, the way Logan dismissed my pain like it was an inconvenience in his calendar. Tyler listened without interrupting, his expression darkening with each detail. "He's not prioritizing your health, or the baby's," Tyler said, "and this insurance change, it's deliberate. It suggests he doesn't want to be financially responsible." My breath caught. What does that even mean? Tyler hesitated, then, carefully, "Some men do this when they're planning a separation. They try to minimize what they'll owe later." A cold wave washed through me. I felt myself trembling, not from fear, but from the horrible clarity taking shape. Logan wasn't just cheating. He was preparing an exit strategy. The door opened, and a nurse wheeled in a portable monitor. "We're keeping you for observation for a couple of hours. Doctor's orders." Tyler nodded, then turned back to me. "You need support. Someone who actually cares about your well-being." I swallowed hard. "I don't have anyone, Tyler." He shook his head gently. "You have me." And I'm not saying that as your doctor. I'm saying that as someone who won't stand by while you're pushed into danger. Emotion rose in my chest, unexpected, overwhelming. For months I had felt invisible, unheard, dismissed. But here, in this quiet hospital room, someone finally stood between me and the storm instead of pushing me deeper into it. "Thank you," I whispered. He held my gaze. "This isn't gratitude, Madeline. This is survival, and you're not going through this alone." The words settled around me like armor, because for the first time since Logan's betrayal began unraveling my life, I didn't feel abandoned. I felt protected. By the time my observation period ended, the cramps had eased, but my nerves hadn't. Tyler insisted on walking me to the waiting area, staying close enough that I felt steadier, safer. But the moment I turned my phone back on, the screen flooded with missed notifications. Text, emails, and one message that made my stomach lurch. An email from Logan. Timestamp, 9:07 a.m. Subject, urgent, damage control. I opened it with trembling fingers. "Madeline, do not mention last night to anyone, especially not at the hospital. We cannot have rumors circulating. I need you to be composed when I get home. This week is critical for the promotion. Don't make things harder for me than they already are. No mention of the baby. No concern for my health. Just control, image, him." My vision blurred with fury. Tyler leaned in slightly. "Madeline, what happened?" I handed him the phone. He read the message and the muscle in his jaw clenched. "This man is more worried about a promotion than your health, than your child's health." Before I could respond, another email notification appeared, this one forwarded to me by mistake. From Sienna Rourke to Logan Whitford. Subject, last night. Attachment, invoice dinner grandlux.pdf. My heart pounded. The preview showed a luxury rooftop restaurant receipt, 2 glasses of vintage champagne, a private corner suite charge, and a note in Sienna's handwriting. "Next time, don't forget to book under my name. Your wife is nosy." My lungs tightened. The room tilted. Tyler caught the change in my expression. "Madeline, talk to me." I couldn't speak, not at first. The betrayal wasn't new, but seeing it written so casually, so shamelessly, carved a deeper wound than perfume on a collar ever could. "He thinks I'm the problem," I whispered. "He thinks I'm ruining his life, his job, while he's out there using you," Tyler finished quietly, "and hurting you." Something inside me hardened. A shift, a line drawn in cement. "This isn't marriage," I said. "This is survival. And he's betting I'm too scared to leave." Tyler's gaze locked on mine, steady, unwavering. "Then it's time he learns you're stronger than he ever believed." For the first time, I didn't doubt the words. Because the illusion of the man I married, it had just shattered completely. By the time I stepped out of Mount Sinai, the winter air hit my face like a slap, sharp, bracing, honest. It felt cleaner than anything I'd breathed inside that penthouse for months. Tyler insisted on walking me to the curb, but he paused when he saw the confusion in my eyes. "Where's your husband?" he asked quietly. I let out a hollow laugh. At his 9 o'clock meeting, he said he couldn't be late. Tyler didn't respond, but the silence said enough. A rideshare pulled up, not the sleek black sedan Logan had ordered earlier. This one was older, with scratches along the door. The kind of car nobody in Logan's circle would ever step into. And for the first time, that felt comforting. I texted Logan, "I'm going home. We need to talk." No reply. During the ride, I clutched my stomach, protectively, instinctively. The city passed by, glittering and indifferent. I replayed every argument, every dismissal, every moment I've mistaken manipulation for love. By the time the car pulled up to our building, something inside me had already shifted. But the real blow came when I reached the lobby. The security guard, someone who had greeted me every morning for 3 years, stood up awkwardly. "Mrs. Whitford, I'm so sorry.
Mr. Whitford asked us to update access. You're no longer on the automatic clearance list.
For a moment, I couldn't breathe. You mean I can't go into my own home? He looked painfully uncomfortable. I'm required to escort you upstairs. Building policy. Building policy. Logan's policy. He knew I was coming home, and he still did this. When the elevator opened onto our penthouse floor, the guard stayed behind near the doors, giving me space. I walked toward the apartment, my apartment, and froze. The lock code had been changed. A deep, sharp ache cut through my chest. Not physical, worse. With trembling hands, I knocked. No answer. I knocked again, harder. Finally, through the door, Logan's voice. Madeline, this isn't a good time. Not a good time for his pregnant wife, who had just left the hospital. The hallway spun for a moment, and then clarity settled in like ice. I wasn't locked out by accident. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was the first step of his escape plan, and it was the moment I decided I would never let him write the ending of my story. When the elevator doors slid shut behind me, the sound echoed like a verdict. I stood frozen in the pristine hallway, 5 months pregnant, locked out of my home, humiliated by the man who vowed to protect me. The cold metal of the elevator button pressed against my palm as I leaned back, fighting the sting in my eyes. I refused to cry. Not here. Not where every camera in the building could record my breaking. I stepped inside the elevator and rode down in silence. My mind was blank and burning all at once, the kind of numbness that follows too much pain. The doors opened into the lobby again, and the guard looked at me with quiet sympathy. Ma'am, do you need someone to call? He asked. I shook my head. No, I'll figure it out. But the truth was, I had no idea where to go. My phone buzzed, a number I didn't recognize. I answered anyway. Hello? Madeline, it's Dr. Grant. You left the hospital quickly. I wanted to make sure you made it home safely. The kindness in his voice cracked something inside me. I didn't, I said. The words trembled. I'm not allowed inside. Logan changed the code. There was a beat of stunned silence. He locked you out? Tyler's voice sharpened, losing its professional distance. Where are you now? In the lobby. Stay there. I'm on my way. No, you don't have to. But the line had already gone dead. 10 minutes later, the revolving doors opened, and Tyler strode in, still in his white coat, hair slightly mussed like he'd rushed out the moment he hung up. His expression, usually calm, composed, was tight with anger. Madeline, he said softly, stepping toward me. You shouldn't be alone right now. The moment his eyes met mine, everything I'd been holding in finally surged upward. Not sobbing, just a quiet, shuddering exhale that betrayed how much I'd endured. Tyler didn't hesitate. He placed a steadying hand on my back. Come on, you're coming with me. Where? I whispered. To somewhere safe, somewhere he can't lock you out. His certainty felt like a lifeline tossed into deep water, and as he guided me toward the exit, the cold wind hit my face again. But this time, it didn't feel like a slap. It felt like freedom beginning to take shape. Tyler's car wasn't the sleek black luxury sedan I expected from a doctor with his reputation. Instead, it was a modest silver Toyota Highlander, clean, warm, smelling faintly of coffee and winter air. Somehow, it was exactly what I needed. No pretension, no cold marble floors, no echoes of betrayal. Buckle up, Tyler said gently as he helped me into the passenger seat. We'll go slow. I nodded, one hand instinctively resting on my belly as he pulled away from the curb. The city blurred past in streaks of gray and gold, the kind of morning light that makes Manhattan look softer than it truly is. I'm sorry if I'm dragging you into this, I murmured. You're not dragging me, he said firmly. I walked in. Those 4 words made something in my chest loosen. It had been so long since anyone chose to stand beside me without obligation. We drove into a quieter part of West Village, where brownstones stood shoulder to shoulder like old friends. Tyler parked in front of a narrow building with ivy climbing its brick walls. "This is me," he said. "Well, temporarily us, if you're okay with that." Inside, his apartment was small but warm, sunlight spilling across wooden floors, shelves filled with medical textbooks, a half-finished cup of Starbucks on the counter, and a soft gray blanket thrown across a couch that looked well-used, lived in. Everything felt safe, safer than anything I'd felt in months. Tyler handed me a glass of water. "Sit, breathe. You're not doing anything today except resting." "But Logan made his choice," Tyler interrupted gently but firmly. "Now you get to make yours." I lowered myself onto the couch, exhaustion sinking into my bones. For the first time, the weight of everything, the lies, the lockout, the insurance, the loneliness, pressed down all at once. My throat tightened. Tyler moved a chair closer, sitting across from me so we were eye level. "Madeline, what he did isn't normal. It isn't loving, and it sure as hell isn't something you deserved." My eyes stung. "I feel like I'm disappearing." He shook his head. "No, he tried to make you disappear. There's a difference." A tear finally fell, not because I was broken, but because, in this quiet West Village apartment, someone finally said the words I'd needed for far too long. I woke the next morning on Tyler's couch, wrapped in the soft gray blanket that smelled faintly like detergent and peppermint. For the first time in months, I had slept. Not well, but safely. No footsteps pacing the penthouse, no doors slamming at dawn, no nights spent wondering which version of Logan would walk through the door. But peace never lasts long. My phone buzzed on the coffee table, an avalanche of notifications lighting up the screen. Headlines, mentions, emails. One message stood out. From Harrington Media Group. Subject, immediate review required. My hand shook as I opened it. "Madeline, we received evidence that sensitive financial documents connected to Logan were leaked externally last night. Your IP address was flagged. We need your statement immediately." I froze. My IP address? I hadn't even opened my laptop. I hadn't been home. I'd been in a hospital bed fighting to keep calm for my baby. Tyler stepped into the living room, still in his scrubs but with concern etched across his face. "Bad news?" I handed him the phone without a word. He scanned the email, eyes narrowing. "This is nonsense. You were with me the whole night." He hesitated. "Madeline, you didn't tell Logan your location, did you?" "No," I whispered. "He didn't ask." But that wasn't true. Logan never needed to ask. He controlled the Wi-Fi at the penthouse. He controlled everything. Tyler exhaled slowly. "Then he set you up." Before the weight of that could settle, another notification popped onto the screen. This time, a forwarded message from an anonymous account. Subject: "Thought you should see this." Attached was a screenshot of Logan messaging Sienna. "If this leak damages the firm, I'll pin it on her. She's unstable lately. She'll fold under pressure." The blood drained from my face. Tyler clenched his jaw. "He's framing you. To save himself." I felt the room tilt, the walls, the floor, everything closing in. Not just betrayal, not just infidelity. Logan was preparing to destroy my reputation entirely. "He's trying to make me the problem," I whispered. "No." Tyler corrected softly, lifting my chin so I had to meet his eyes. "He's trying, but he's not going to succeed." And for the first time, I believed that wasn't hope talking. It was a warning. A storm was coming, and I wasn't the one who needed to be afraid. I stared at the screenshot of Logan's message until my vision blurred. "She'll fold under pressure." He really believed that. He believed I was weak, predictable, breakable. He didn't know me at all. Tyler paced in front of the window, phone pressed to his ears. He spoke quietly to someone from the hospital's legal department. His brows furrowed deeper with every response he received. When he finally ended the call, he turned to me. "Madeline, the leak wasn't just some minor slip. Those documents involve undisclosed spending tied to Sienna. If this blows up, it could tank his entire division." My pulse quickened.
and he wants me to take the fall. Tyler nodded. Unless you fight back, and you can. Fear and anger warred inside me. How? He pulled a chair close, sitting so we were eye level.
You mentioned Logan handles everything digital in the penthouse. The router, the Wi-Fi, the devices? Yes, everything is in his name. Which means, Tyler continued, he left a digital trail. If he rerouted activity through your IP, there will be inconsistencies. We just need someone who can uncover them. A small spark of hope flickered. Do you know someone? I know someone better, he said, reaching for his phone again. My sister. She's a cybersecurity consultant. If Logan manipulated the network, she'll find it. Before I could answer, my phone buzzed again. Another message from Harrington Media. Per company protocol, you are requested to appear for questioning today at 3 p.m. My stomach dropped. They want to interrogate me. Tyler's expression hardened. You're not going alone. But you're a doctor. I'm a witness, he interrupted. I was with you all night at the hospital. They can't bully you if you have someone beside you. I swallowed the swell of emotion threatening to rise. Inside Logan's world, I had always been alone. But here, I wasn't. Then another notification lit up my screen, this one from an unknown number. Careful, Madeline, you're out of your depth. A chill raced down my spine. The message was followed by a single attachment, a photo of me leaving the penthouse lobby yesterday, eyes red, one hand on my belly. Sienna, it had to be her. She thinks she can intimidate me, I whispered. Tyler stepped closer, voice steady. Then show her she picked the wrong woman. For the first time since Logan's betrayal began, something inside me shifted. Not fear, not despair, resolve. Harrington Media's headquarters rose above Midtown like a glass fortress, intimidating, reflective, impossible to climb without losing something on the way up. As Tyler and I stepped into the lobby, the cold marble floor seemed to swallow the sound of our footsteps. I felt small, out of place, a pregnant woman walking straight into a den built to protect men like Logan. But Tyler walked beside me with purposeful confidence, and somehow that steadied me. The receptionist's smile faltered when she saw me. Mrs. Whitford? They're waiting in conference room 17. Of course they were. The same room where Logan once proudly introduced me as his better half. Now I was the liability. When we entered, 3 executives sat around a glossy oak table, their expressions sharp and unreadable. Logan was there too, fresh suit, perfect tie, perfectly rehearsed concern plastered on his face. Madeline, he said, standing as if he deserved credit for the effort. Thanks for coming. I ignored the chair he offered and took the one next to Tyler instead. Logan's jaw twitched. The lead executive cleared his throat. We're here to discuss the recent leak involving confidential spending tied to Mr. Whitford's department. Your IP address was flagged. We need clarification. I opened my mouth, but Logan cut in smoothly. She's been under stress, pregnancy, emotional strain. It's been difficult. Sometimes people act out without realizing. Tyler leaned forward, voice calm but razor sharp. She was in the hospital all night under my supervision. I can verify her location, vitals, timestamps, everything. Logan stiffened. The executive frowned. Is that accurate? Yes, Tyler said. And I suggest you review system logs more carefully. If someone rerouted activity to her IP, you'll find irregularities. Silence spread across the table like a slow-burning fuse. Then I slid my phone across the table. The screenshot of Logan's message to Sienna lit the room like a bomb. If this leak damages the firm, I'll pin it on her. She's unstable lately. The executive's expressions shifted instantly. Shock, then anger, then calculation. Logan lunged for the phone. That's taken out of context. No, I said, voice steady for the first time. It's exactly the context. One executive stood. Mr. Whitford, you need to step out, now. Logan looked at me, not with guilt, not with remorse, but with fury. As security escorted him out, a strange calm washed over me. He'd planned to destroy me. But he'd underestimated the one thing he could never control: the truth. The moment Logan was escorted out of the conference room, the atmosphere shifted. The executives whispered among themselves, exchanging glances sharp enough to cut glass. One of them collected the printed documents on the table: expense reports, leaked emails, internal memos. All of it now painted a picture far worse than a misunderstanding. But I wasn't done. "Before you continue," I said, drawing every eye back to me, "there's something else you need to see." Tyler slid a second folder across the table, one his sister had compiled overnight. Her digital forensics report, stamped and time-coded. The lead executive flipped it open. Within seconds, his expression tightened. "What is this?" he asked. "Proof," Tyler said calmly, "that the data sent through Madeline's IP was spoofed. The activity originated from a device with credentials belonging to Mr. Whitford." The room froze. Someone cursed under their breath. Another executive pushed back his chair. So he planted evidence on his own wife to cover his misconduct? I swallowed, forcing myself to stay steady. He thought I'd be too overwhelmed, too emotional, too pregnant to defend myself. A cold silence settled. Then the woman at the far end of the table, someone I recognized from investor meetings, spoke quietly. "This is grounds for immediate suspension and investigation." Her tone carried the weight of consequences that stretched far beyond this room. Just then, the conference door cracked open. A young assistant rushed in, breathless. I'm sorry, but you need to see this." She held up her phone. "It's everywhere. Someone leaked the spending reports. The news outlets are posting about misuse of company funds, and Mr. Whitford's name is attached." All eyes snapped to me, not accusingly, but in shock. "I didn't leak anything," I said firmly. "We know," the executive replied, "but whoever did timed it perfectly." Tyler's gaze met mine. Sienna. Of course it was her. She wouldn't go down alone. Then the assistant added, voice trembling, "There's more. Photos of Mr. Whitford with a woman at Grand Lux rooftop last night. It's explicit." The executives exchanged looks of dread, then fury. Not at me, at him. The lead executive rose. "Mrs. Whitford, you may go. We have all the information we need." As Tyler and I stepped into the hallway, my knees threatened to buckle, not from fear, from relief. For the first time, the truth wasn't my enemy, it was my armor. And it was finally turning back toward the man who deserved its burn. By the time Tyler and I stepped outside Harrington Media, the winter sun had begun sinking behind the Manhattan skyline, casting long golden lines across the street. The city was loud, horns blaring, people shouting, taxis rushing past, but none of it touched me. I felt suspended, floating between collapse and clarity. Tyler placed a hand lightly on my elbow. "You shouldn't go back to his building," he said softly. "Not tonight." "I know," I whispered. "Come with me," he added, "just for a few hours. There's somewhere I want you to see." We walked a few blocks until we reached a small restaurant tucked between two towering glass buildings. I'd passed it 1,000 times but never noticed it. Inside, a host greeted Tyler like an old friend and led us up a narrow staircase to a rooftop terrace. When the door opened, my breath caught. String lights glowed above us, swaying gently in the breeze. The skyline stretched in every direction, Manhattan's glittering bones sharp against the fading sky. It wasn't the kind of luxury Logan chased. This was simpler, softer, human. Tyler pulled out a chair for me. "Whenever things get overwhelming," he said, "I come up here. It reminds me that the world is bigger than whatever crisis I'm in." I sat, the cool metal of the chair grounding me. "It's beautiful." He nodded, watching my face rather than the skyline. "You deserve peace, Madeline, and choices, and the life where you're not scared of the next room you walk into." A lump formed in my throat. I don't even know who I am without him. "You're someone who walked into a corporate boardroom today and didn't flinch," Tyler said. "You're someone who protected herself and her baby even when she was terrified. That's who you are." The words sank deeper than I expected. For months, Logan's voice had been louder than my own. But here, above the city,
My voice felt like it was returning to me. A gust of wind brushed past, carrying the scent of winter and something like renewal. Then, Tyler reached into his coat pocket and placed something on the table, a single key. "To my apartment," he said quietly. "If you want it. No pressure, no expectation, just safety." I stared at the key, the metal glinting under the warm rooftop lights. For the first time, I realized safety wasn't a luxury. It was a lifeline. And for once, it was being offered to me freely. I didn't take the key that night. I wanted to. Part of me ached for a place where doors didn't lock behind me, where silence wasn't punishment, where breathing didn't feel like walking on glass. But I needed time to think, to feel, to understand the wreckage of the life I was walking away from. Tyler didn't push. He simply walked me back to his apartment and made sure I settled into the guest room before heading out for a night shift. "Text me if anything happens," he said. Anything. I promised I would, but the world had other plans. At dawn, my phone buzzed non-stop. Dozens of messages, missed calls, notifications exploding across the screen. One headline stood out. Harrington Media's rising star suspended amid financial misconduct scandal. A photo of Logan beneath the headline. Jaw clenched, eyes cold, perfect facade fracturing. My stomach tightened, not with fear, with recognition. His mask was cracking. Then another notification lit up, a voicemail from an unknown number. Against my better judgment, I pressed play.
"Madeline."
Logan's voice was sharp, frantic.
"You need to call me, now. Everything is falling apart. They're making a mistake. You started this. You can fix it."
"You owe me that much." Owe him? My hand shook, not from weakness, but rage. A second voicemail hit immediately. "Don't ignore me. You don't get to walk away and destroy my career. I know where you are." A chill spread over my skin. How? How did he know? Before panic could take root, the apartment buzzer rang, violent, insistent. I froze. Then it rang again. My breath hitched. Please not him, please. I crept toward the intercom, heart pounding, and pressed the button. A voice crackled through. "Madeline? It's Sienna. We need to talk." Shock punched through me. She wasn't supposed to know where I was. She wasn't supposed to come here. She wasn't supposed to. "Open the door," she said, voice smooth but trembling beneath the surface. "You're in danger, and not just from him." My pulse thundered in my ears. Danger? From who? Before I could react, she added, "He's not acting alone." The hallway spun. My world, already shattered, fractured again. Because betrayal from one person was survivable, but betrayal from two? That could ruin everything. For a moment, I couldn't move. Sienna's voice, smooth, calculated, trembling beneath its usual confidence, echoed through the intercom like a warning wrapped in velvet. I glanced at the locked apartment door, then at my phone, then back at the intercom. "What do you mean he's not acting alone?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. "Open the door," she repeated, urgency cutting through her usual arrogance. "Madeline, I don't have time. They're coming." They, not him, they. My pulse spiked. "I'm pregnant. I'm not opening anything until you tell me what's happening." Silence, then a shaky exhale. "Fine, but listen carefully. Logan wasn't the one who leaked the documents to frame you. He didn't even know how to access the routing logs. Someone on the inside coached him." The room tilted. "Who?" "Marcus Carrington," she whispered. "The CFO." I staggered back a step. Marcus was practically a legend, powerful, untouchable, the man who shaped Harrington Media's empire from behind the curtain, and he was Logan's mentor. "He told Logan that pinning this on you would make the board act quickly." She continued, voice tightening. "It would protect the merger, save the company's public face, and shield them from scrutiny. Logan thought he was protecting his job, but Marcus was protecting something much bigger." My breath strained against my ribs. "Why are you telling me this?" She hesitated. Because I was supposed to help Logan discredit you. I thought it was just a relationship scandal, ugly but harmless. Then I saw the actual documents. Her voice shook. There's fraud, Madeline. Real fraud. Millions. And if Marcus falls, Logan falls with him. I held my stomach, feeling my child flutter in protest of my racing heart. And you? I asked. What do you get from helping me? Another pause. Protection, she admitted. Marcus knows I accessed the files. If he thinks I'm turning on them, I'm dead in this industry. Maybe worse. A heavy thud suddenly hit the door downstairs, the sound of a fist or a boot colliding with metal. Sienna's voice broke. They're here. Please, don't let them get me. Fear snapped through me so sharply it felt electric. I wasn't ready to trust her, but danger didn't wait for trust, and I realized then, whether I opened the door or not, my life had already crossed a line it couldn't uncross. The pounding downstairs grew louder, angrier, more deliberate. A metallic echo rattled up through the stairwell, each strike vibrating through the floor beneath my feet. I backed away from the door instinctively, one hand gripping the edge of the counter, the other shielding my belly. Madeline, Sienna whispered through the intercom, voice cracking. Marcus sent his security team. They think I still have access to the files. If they grab me first, they'll make me the scapegoat. Please, you don't understand what he's capable of. I didn't want to understand, but the terror in her voice made it impossible to ignore. Another thud. Then, a sharp metallic clang, like someone attempting to force the downstairs entry. My breath stuttered. Why would Marcus risk all this? Because he's been laundering money through offshore media divisions for years, she said quickly. And Logan's falsified expense reports helped hide it. If the board learns the truth, the entire empire collapses. Marcus isn't trying to protect Logan. He's trying to bury anyone who can expose him. The pieces finally clicked into place. Logan wasn't just selfish. He was a pawn. A willing one, but still a pawn. Why did you come here? I demanded. Why not run? I tried, Sienna cried. But someone was following me. I needed a place they wouldn't look. Nobody knows you're here except Logan, and he'd never guess I'd turn to you. That didn't comfort me. Then, silence. Not peaceful silence, a loaded, predatory quiet that draped itself across the entire building. I moved closer to the window, peeking through the edge of the curtain. 2 men in dark coats stood outside the entry. Not police, not corporate security. Private, unmarked. Men paid to solve problems quietly. My stomach lurched. The intercom hissed again. Madeline, they're coming up. I had seconds to choose. I could open the door for a woman who betrayed me, who helped Logan destroy my life, or leave her out there for men who might do far worse. My pulse hammered against my ribs. Sienna, step back from the door. Are you letting me in? I didn't answer. I grabbed the nearest heavy object, a cast iron pan, and positioned myself behind the door. I'm opening it, I whispered. But if you try anything, I won't hesitate. A shaky breath crackled through the speaker. Deal. I unlocked the door, and the moment it swung open, everything erupted. The door burst open, and Sienna stumbled inside, breathless, mascara streaked, her heels slipping against the hardwood floor. I barely had time to pull her in before slamming the door shut again. Her back hit the wall as she pressed a hand to her chest, gasping. They're coming up the stairs, she whispered. Before I could respond, footsteps thundered in the hallway below. Fast, heavy, unmistakably determined. I locked the door, my fingers trembling as the deadbolt clicked into place. Sienna slid down the wall, hugging her knees. I never wanted this. Logan said it was just optics, just keeping your breakdown quiet. I didn't know Marcus was hiding felonies. My pulse hammered. You helped him. You helped them. She didn't deny it. I know, and I'm sorry. But if Marcus goes down, he'll drag everyone connected to him, including you.
He's already told the board you were the one pushing Logan to hide the expenses. I froze. He what? Yes, she whispered. He told them you blackmailed Logan emotionally. You were the unstable pregnant wife trying to protect the baby's future. Her voice shook. It's not just your marriage he wants to ruin, it's your credibility. My breath turned cold. Marcus wasn't just trying to save himself. He was trying to erase me. The pounding reached the top floor. A dark silhouette passed the frosted glass panel of the hallway light. They'll break the door, Sienna choked out. No, I said. They won't get the chance. I grabbed my phone and hit the emergency contact Tyler had set up for me the night before. He answered on the first ring. Madeline? They're here, I whispered. Marcus's men. They're outside Tyler's apartment. Silence. Then the sound of movement. Keys, footsteps, a door slamming. I'm calling NYPD and security, Tyler said, voice sharp with urgency. Stay away from the door. I'm 10 minutes away. Can you hold on? I looked at Sienna, shaking, terrified, broken in a way I recognized too well. Yes, I said, but hurry. Then another sound split the hallway. A voice. Logan's. Madeline, he called through the corridor, voice strained and desperate. Open the door. We need to talk. Sienna's eyes widened. He came with them, she whispered. He's choosing Marcus over you. My chest tightened, not with heartbreak, but with clarity. I stepped back from the door, my voice steady for the first time. I'm done talking, Logan. Because the truth wasn't hiding anymore, and neither was I. The hallway outside exploded with noise, Logan shouting orders, men shifting their weight, boots scuffing against the floor. Sienna hid behind the kitchen island, shaking. I stood in the center of the apartment, one hand on my belly, the other gripping the phone like a lifeline. Madeline, Logan's voice cracked. Open the door before this gets worse. But then, a second voice cut through the chaos. Step away from the door, NYPD. Everything froze. A beat later, the hallway erupted with commands, heavy footsteps, and the metallic clatter of weapons holstered. Tyler burst into the apartment moments later, followed by 2 officers. His eyes went straight to me. You're safe now, he said, breathless, before turning toward the doorway. Logan was pinned against the wall, handcuffed, protesting violently.
You don't understand. Marcus said, she's lying. Sienna set me up. Madeline, tell them.
But his words meant nothing now. Sienna stepped out from behind the island, her voice trembling but clear. Marcus sent men after me. He used Logan for the dirty work. Logan knew exactly what he was doing. One of the officers nodded.
We already have a warrant for Marcus Carrington's arrest. Evidence was submitted anonymously this morning.
I blinked. Anonymous? Tyler exhaled.
My sister finished the audit last night.
She sent everything to the authorities. Marcus can't hide anymore. Pieces clicked together. Why the men came early. Why Marcus panicked. Why Logan was spiraling. The truth had outrun them. Logan's face twisted.
Madeline,
Please.
don't do this. You're my wife.
No, I said softly. I was your shield. He froze. And you tried to destroy me anyway. The officers led him down the hall, his voice echoing until the elevator swallowed it whole. For the first time, the silence he left behind didn't hurt. Sienna approached me slowly. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but thank you for letting me in. I nodded, not forgiving, but no longer angry. Tyler moved beside me, his expression softening.
The board will clear your name, and once you're ready, we'll make sure you and the baby have a fresh start.
A fresh start? I whispered. He smiled gently.
At my place. As long as you want.
As long as you need. The weight I'd carried for years lifted, finally, fully, replaced by something fragile and new. Hope. I took his hand, and for the first time, my life belonged to me again. And just like that, our story comes to a close. But hey, my wonderful friends who are still here with me, are you really still watching at this moment? If you are, then maybe something in Madeline's journey touched a corner of your heart in a way only truth can. You know, life doesn't always warn us before it breaks. Sometimes it cracks quietly, the way her marriage did. But the Stoics remind us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. And that is where healing begins. Not in controlling others, but in choosing ourselves. In choosing peace. In choosing a future that doesn't hurt. What Madeline learned, and what I hope you feel too, is that strength isn't loud. Strength is the moment you stop chasing someone who keeps walking away. Strength is saying, I deserve better, and then actually living like you believe it. As Marcus Aurelius said, what stands in the way becomes the way. Every wound becomes a door. Every ending becomes a path. So if this story stirred something inside you, stay with us. Like the video, share it with someone who might need it, and subscribe so you don't walk these journeys alone. We're here, together, and healing starts now. Before we wrap up completely, I want to take a moment to clarify something important. This story you just watched is a fictional dramatization created purely for emotional reflection and storytelling purposes. Any characters, events, or situations are not meant to represent real people or real-life incidents. Our goal is to explore themes of resilience, healing, and personal strength through narrative. Nothing more, nothing less. I want to make sure YouTube understands, and you understand, that this content is not reporting factual events, nor is it claiming to expose real individuals or companies. It's simply a story meant to inspire, comfort, and start conversations about self-worth and courage. Thank you for respecting the creative space we share. And thank you for watching with such an open heart.